Hello, hockey fans, and welcome back into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It is time. It is here. The Olympics have arrived. The women are already there in Italy, ready to drop the puck tomorrow morning, our time here in the U.S. to get the Olympic hockey tournament started. The men will be joining them here very shortly in just a few days. Lots to go over. We will continue our Olympic coverage by dissecting Team Canada and Team USA, the heavy favorites in both the women's and the men's Olympic tournaments. But we're not going to be talking just Olympics tonight. There are 10 NHL games in action tonight. We will get you up to date on all those, and then some big trades going across in the NHL tonight, including one that involves the favorite team for my co-host. We will talk about that. Lots to get into, lots to go through, and only an hour to do it. So strap it on down, carry that puck across, zap it past the goalie. This is the neutral zone. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the neutral zone. I am Adam Karnik. He is Freddie B. Together, we do this thing called the neutral zone every week. We are so glad that you are here with us on this Wednesday evening. Freddie, how are you doing?
Adam, you gave me one of the best text messages that I have seen in such a long time. I thought it was April Fool's Day. But you told me that my LA Kings made a trade for Artemi Panarin. I thought it was a fake story. My brother hadn't called me yet, and he's on the, texting me, calls me all the time. You broke it first. Wow, man. I am so pumped up for the Kings and for the organization. I think this is something they can build upon. I hope so. We're going to break this down, but yeah, exciting way. We got so much hockey to discuss, a lot of good things going on in the league just before we take a break tomorrow. And then we have Olympics, Adam. I mean, it's pouring on right now. Great time.
There is a lot to dive into. Absolutely. And we're going to be getting into all of it tonight. We've got 10 NHL games on the docket for tonight, including your Kings. They are the big newsmakers of the day. We'll be discussing that trade. Yeah. We'll check in on those games. There was another trade involving the Devils today as well, so we'll get into that. And then lots of Olympics to talk. We talked all the other teams last week. We saved Canada and the US for tonight. We will be taking a deep dive into both the women's and the men's tournaments to get you set up and ready for that as we are less than 12 hours from Olympic hockey from Italy. I think we're more ready than the rink is, but we'll get into that as we get into the coverage there. But let's start things off quickly. A quick aside. Want to say thank you to each of our sponsors. Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. We thank them. And also thank you to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Yep. Go to vitalapparel.com. And when you do, use the promo code IESR at checkout, and you get 15% off of your order. Also, this show is available for you on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. We are at IESR Neutral Zone. IE Sports Radio is also available for you at IESR. And also you can follow along on TikTok and YouTube as well. And be sure to check out iesportsradio.com for all the latest in the shows, the hosts, guests, everything that's going on with the station there as well. You can also follow along with each one of us personally on social media. He is at Freddie B_sports. I am at Adam_Karnik. And we want to say hello to everybody watching tonight across YouTube and Twitter. Glad you are here with us. Lots to get into. We'll start things off with the scores. We've had a few games go final. The Blackhawks, they need to just stop playing Columbus, apparently. We'll start there in Columbus. The Blue Jackets blanking the Blackhawks 4-0.
Stay tuned. We'll be talking the Blue Jackets in a little bit.
We will be. They're making a sneak appearance into somewhere. Zach Werenski, Ivan Povarov, Danton Heinen, and I apologize, the last goal scorer, Sean Monahan, all the goal scorers there in that one. We are right now, we'd be looking at overtime down in Florida, the Bruins and the Panthers in a good one, tied at 4 with just under 9 minutes to go in regulation in that one. So the Bruins hot off of a miserable loss in Tampa Bay to the Lightning. Wow. We got to talk about that outdoor game too. We got to fit that in tonight with our discussion.
Yes.
So the Bruins staying there in Florida and not liking what they're getting from the Panthers. My goodness. Swayman, I'm double checking that it is Swayman in net tonight for the Bruins. If so, he is having an absolutely brutal night. Just 14 saves on 18 shots.
Definitely not.
Excuse me. It is not Swayman. It is Korpisalo.
I was going to say that's definitely not what Team USA wants to see at this point.
No, not at all. Korpisalo getting the start, as I'm sure they're keeping Swayman back for the Olympics at this point.
Yeah.
But only 14 saves on 18 shots.
Yeah, they actually just took away the goal that Boston just scored to tie it. So it's 4-3 Panthers now, 8 minutes left.
Even worse for Boston. Then up in Winnipeg, we've got an all Canada game going on. There's the Canadians all over the Jets, 4-1 with just under 2 minutes to go in regulation on that one. The Jets are on a power play, but they need a lot in a very little amount of you still are not allowed to score more than once on a power play, unfortunately.
Right.
So, going to be a little too late for the Jets, it looks like tonight.
Yep.
In Nashville, we got a barn burner going on there. The Wild and the Predators tied at 4 with 3 minutes left to go in the second. So they've still got
some heaters going tonight. Jeez.
Goalies taking the night off, apparently, in a few of these games. The Sharks and the Avalanche are just about done with the first period. They got 4 minutes and change to go. No score there. Avalanche definitely dominating in the shot department, outshooting the Sharks 9-3. Sharks coming off a rough loss to the Blackhawks.
Yeah, they're on a little bit of a rough stretch right now.
Very much so. In Utah, the Mammoth up 2-0 on the Red Wings. The Red Wings have been on a slide lately with 2:40 left to go in the first period. So Utah Mammoth on top there. And then we've still got to come tonight. We've got the Blues and the Stars. They'll be dropping the puck any minute now. Oilers and Flames up in Calgary. The Canucks and the Golden Knights. Oh yeah. Those, when those two get together, you're in for one. And then the big one also, the Kraken and the Kings.
Yes.
It's already, this was a big, and we'll start there to get into our discussion for the night.
Yep.
As this was already a big game anyway between the Kraken and the Kings, because you had the battle for the final wild card in the West on the line there, with Seattle currently holding it, but a very, very, very slim lead, just holding on by 1 point. And now you have the huge news of the day, the Los Angeles Kings have made the move to get Artemi Panarin, the bread man, from the New York Rangers. The Rangers made it absolutely no secret that Panarin was available. They held him out their last 3 games so that he would not get hurt and thereby hurt his trade value in any way, shape, or form. But here is the trade in its entirety.
I can't believe it that they made it. There had been rumors talked about the last couple of weeks, as the Kings being one of the heavy favorites for that. But, speculation was, are they going to have to give up Quentin Byfield or an Alex Laferriere? What was it going to take? Could they get Panarin plus somebody else? I would have liked maybe Vinny Trocheck. And if they made a bigger package, because that would have been a great centerman to have. But yeah, Adam, break down the details, and then we're going to go into. I'm going to give you my take on this as well.
Yeah, so here's the deal in full for the Kings. It's very simple. They get Artemi Panarin, who was in the final year of a 7-year deal with the New York Rangers. They get Panarin and half of his salary. The Rangers are remaining financially responsible for half of Panarin's remaining salary.
Right.
The Rangers get in return 20-year-old prospect Liam Greentree, who is currently in the Ontario Hockey League. He was a first-round pick of the Kings in 2024, so a very recent draft pick.
Very promising.
20-year-old forward, and then a conditional draft pick. As it sits right now, it is a 3rd-round pick in this June's draft. If the Kings advance to the 2nd round of the playoffs, then the pick becomes a 2nd-round pick in this year's draft.
Exactly.
Should the Kings advance to the Western Conference Final, then it's a 2nd-round pick, and then the Rangers will also receive a 4th-round pick in 2028.
A lot of ands there.
A lot of ands, a lot of conditions hanging on to that pick. But it's for the Kings, it's very simple. You get Panarin. For the Rangers, you're getting a 20-year-old forward and you're getting a draft pick. It is either a 2nd or a 3rd round, and it could be an additional pick 2 years from now, 3 drafts from now. All right, Freddie. So give us your take on this as a Kings fan.
Even with the perfect conditions that the Kings win the Stanley Cup and they have to give up those conditional picks, what Ken Holland just did today for what he had to give up, in my opinion, is exactly what this team needed. This franchise, from the fans' perspective, is on life support. The team is hovering over, in the playoffs. They're in one day, they're out of the wild card. No consistency. Everybody has wanted Jim Hiller fired all year. They can't score goals. We go to overtime more than anybody in the league. And then you pull off this trade, and for what you gave up, you're getting, even at 34 years old, Panarin is putting up points at a great pace. 57 points, I think it is, on the season so far. He's going to outscore any of the Kings players that they've had over the last few years. So huge. Liam Greentree, a big athlete, very good. He had 119 points last year, scoring 49 goals with Windsor. And then this year already, through 34 games, 45 points, 23 goals, 22 assists. He knows how to score. He knows how to dish the puck. The Rangers are getting a very good player in Liam Greentree, but the Kings needed this shakeup right now. I haven't really even seen message boards. I haven't really got many reactions from other fans because I had a busy day at work and then this news came on. I haven't really had a chance to digest it myself, but maybe this is the boost that it's going to take. Coming into the Olympic break, if the Kings have 2 huge games, one tonight against Seattle and tomorrow night in Vegas. So, picking up points is crucial. I hope we can get at least 3 out of the 4 points. That would be ideal. 4 would be amazing. You got to at least win tonight's game in regulation. 3-point games in your own division with it being so close is hard right now. You got to win the games in regulation. So I'm happy about it, Adam. Yeah. Well, I can't wait. I don't think he's playing tonight, right?
That's what I'm in the process of double checking that right now. That's the assumption I'm working on, is that he is not going to play tonight. I'm working on that right now. But that's the assumption I'm working on, is that he is not going to play tonight. I'm checking there.
I didn't think so.
Well,
and as far as the Rangers go, they're getting a great player. They're getting some picks. They didn't have intention of signing Panarin, and I really thought that the ransom for him was going to be a lot greater. And on top of the trade, the Kings signed him to a 2-year extension at $11 million per year. So we've locked him up for a few years as well. I don't know what Ken Holland has up his sleeve. Maybe he's working on something. This front office, has been a disaster. And we wanted a shakeup, and maybe this is just, putting the paddles on the chest and reviving what was dead.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of urgency to this too. An interesting wrinkle for this. The Olympics actually presented a unique wrinkle in all this. During the Olympic break, teams are not allowed to trade players. You can't get traded while you're going and representing your country in the Olympic Games. So there was a trade freeze that went into effect this afternoon.
Yes.
So there was a little bit of urgency on that. And I wonder if maybe that affected the return that the Rangers got. There were some reports out there, there were some reports that the Rangers had gotten some offers from the Sharks and from the Capitals, that there was interest there, but they weren't willing to let go of some pieces that the Rangers wanted. I'm looking at a tweet here. Ultimately, Jimmy Murphy, is the guy who ultimately was kind of behind that. He was saying that the Sharks would have had to give up Will Smith, and the Capitals would have had to give up Ryan Leonard, and neither of them were willing to move on that, willing to make that kind of trade. So instead, you go to LA. Obviously you're a Kings fan, so this may feel a little biased when you answer it. In the immediate, is this a better move for the Kings or the Rangers in your eyes?
I think it's a better for the immediate. The Kings need scoring. They're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, Adam. And if they could just put more pucks into the net, or capitalize on a 1-goal lead and increasing it to a multiple goal lead, that's going to get you wins. And that's what Panarin is going to do. He is going to score. We have the guys on the team who can facilitate him. I thought Quentin Byfield was going to be the one that's going out. He still might. I don't know what's going on. But you put him now and giving him some more offensive help. He's starting to win the faceoffs again. He just scored the other night. Byfield could be in a breakout spot. And this coming right now before the break, meaning Panarin could come to LA and he can get acclimated with the life and get situated. He doesn't have to rush as if he was traveling right away or anything like that after this weekend. So I think he'll get acclimated with a lot of the players. And I think this is huge. And again, the Rangers are in a rebuild as well. Chris Drury, announced that everybody was open for trade other than Shesterkin. So
right
now I want to see what's the next big move that's made in the league.
Yeah, well, obviously for the next big move, we're going to be waiting until after the Olympic break at this point,
right,
unless it's all going to involve nothing but draft picks and minor league players. That's what we're going to be looking. I am looking as well on the projected lineups tonight, and I do not see Artemi Panarin in there for the Kings.
I wouldn't mind seeing him tomorrow in Vegas if it comes down to it.
That I think that's probably the more realistic. I'm not seeing anybody say that he's going to be in there tonight. That he's going to be in there tonight for the Kings tonight. I do think that you're ultimately it's going to be tomorrow when he'll make his Los Angeles debut.
Right. One other thing though, now the Kings are going to have another forward that's going to be out of the lineup. They've already started healthy scratching Warren Fogle. He's not playing again tonight. He's been a healthy scratch now 3 out of the last 4 games, I think. So he may be on his way out. And then you have to think who else is going to be dealt. Or, I mean, you have Yoel Armia, who's great on the penalty kill. I don't think you want to lose a guy like that. You have Trevor Moore. Maybe that's a guy that they can move. Maybe there still is a trade in the works for a Byfield or a Laferriere. And then on top of that, you have Turcotte injured right now, and there's your other center when he's healthy. So that's 2 other guys. The Kings are still going to be busy. They're going to be dealing some guys now.
Yeah, certainly Holland is going to be busy. The Kings have clearly they are going all in on this season. Obviously, you're not trading for Panarin and then immediately signing him to an extension to then turn around and sell.
I can't even think. I can't remember the Kings at the last time they had a big time superstar like this. It's been a very long time, Adam. They haven't had a superstar. They've had guys who've had great careers, but nobody as dynamic as Panarin. And that is exactly, I think, what is going to flip the switch for the Kings starting tonight, even though he's not in the lineup. Maybe that lights some fire into these guys like, hey, you're playing for a job right now. So, and we got to win this. It's a huge game. I expect them to come out firing.
Well, and it's one of those things too, that even if it's not necessarily, you get a sense of urgency that, oh my gosh, I've got to play to preserve my ice time. I got to play to preserve my minutes. Anytime the front office, anytime you trade to bring in professional players, that's a sign of confidence. That's just a stamp of approval to the guys that are already there. And that right there could just give you a shot in the arm, that boost of, hey, they believe in us. They think that we've got what it takes. Yeah, guys, come on, let's go out there. We can do this. See, they believe in us. We can believe in ourselves.
I want to think that. I absolutely want to think that. And for those that are unhappy about us trading away the prospects and Green Tree, once Panarin scores and starts lighting the lamp, you're going to forget about all of that. And I think this is going to lead the Kings and catapult them into a spot to finish top 3 in the Pacific.
I agree wholeheartedly. When I saw the deal, I kept kind of like waiting for, okay, what else? What else are the Rangers getting? I kept feeling like, really, that's it? That's all it is? You've got a 20-year-old prospect. Now, he's playing well in Ontario.
Sure.
He's a recent first-round pick. So obviously you've got high potential, high ceiling for Green Tree. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Other than that, you've got a draft pick, Possibly 2, but the second one, you're not going to see anything. You're talking a 4th round pick 3 drafts from now. That's nothing. That is such a nothing thing to if you're Ken Holland or any general manager.
Yeah.
You give that up all the time. There's nothing wrong with giving that up. You want to pick 3 drafts from now, and it's not even a first rounder. It's not even in the first 2 rounds. Sure, you go right ahead. You grab that goalie prospect that's probably never going to make it higher than the ECHL. You go for it, dude.
Good.
If that's what it takes to get this deal done, sure. This to me, it feels like an A+ for the Kings all the way around. For the Rangers, I don't want to be too hard. I don't want to be too hard on the Rangers. A C. I'm going to give it a C. Okay. And I don't want to go any lower because
they didn't get a position player at the moment either.
Well,
current roster player.
This season is over with for the Rangers. If you were getting somebody to plug in now, I don't know that would necessarily weigh it any better or worse in my mind. This season is over with for the Rangers. They're 17 points out of a playoff spot, and there's zero confidence that they'll do anything to make that gap up. I don't think the Rangers are doing anything more for the rest of this season. So you had a high-end player on an expiring deal. You made sure you got something for him. Yeah. So that right there, I don't want to criticize them too harshly. At the same time, this really feels like they put the pressure on themselves to make a deal by this deadline as opposed to the actual trade deadline. The other thing they could have done is used the entire Olympic break to, here he is, who wants him there, here, fishy, and just keep raising that pot for Panarin. And instead it really feels like they settled. It really, to me, feels like they settled.
If it's a settle and it benefits the Kings, I am all for it. And I'm glad they settled for what they got in return. And good luck to Liam and his career. He's going to be a star in this league. Just watch him. Just keep, that's a good move for the Rangers. He's going to be the future there. And I think that's a great story on his story right there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it could very possibly be next season, but later this calendar year that we see him playing at Madison Square Garden for the Rangers. Would not shock me in the slightest if next season he's playing games at Madison Square Garden. And, and best of luck to him in that endeavor. I still just, for the Rangers, this feels like they could have gotten more. And they went with a deal that they were comfortable with. It really just feels like they saw this deadline and it was, well, we got to get rid of Panarin by today. It's got to be today. It's got to be today, February 4th. Otherwise, we don't want him hanging around with us over the Olympic break. And I feel like that's probably a mistake for the Rangers. So I'm going to give them a C on this. For the Kings, it's an A+. To me, it's an A+ all the way around. I love it for the Kings.
I love it too. So I'm
hoping they gave up nothing.
Yeah, we'll see in a couple of weeks, Adam, when everybody returns and after he's had a few games with the club, how they respond. And we'll follow up with how this trade is looking in a few weeks.
Absolutely. We'll see how it all is. So before we turn our attention to Olympics, we've got some other business to attend to in the NHL. we were talking about Boston a little bit earlier, as they are. I'm going to triple check before I say this, but I'm pretty sure that I saw. Yes, they are indeed in overtime right now against the Florida Panthers. It is 4-4. It is in overtime down in Florida. So the Bruins are not enjoying their time down in the Sunshine State. First of all, it's just cold. It's just brutally cold. Now, for a Bostonian, it's not cold. For a Floridian, what in the Blue Blazes is going on here? Everything about this is wrong.
Yeah.
And so you're in Florida in quite possibly the worst time ever to be in Florida. Who would have thought that? They are struggling to handle the shorthanded Florida Panthers.
Yep.
And then over the weekend.
Great headline. Yes.
That was a doozy. At Raymond James Stadium that we got to see over the weekend.
I posted and I texted you and I said, this is the greatest outdoor game I have ever watched. I've watched a lot of great ones. I've watched some in the snow that are, or up in, Canada. They've been all over the place. The Kings played at Dodger Stadium and then at Levi Stadium. I watched all of those, but this was the best game. The atmosphere was so cool. I'm glad they had like a theme to it.
Yes.
And, the lightning coming out in the Buccaneers uniforms. Oh my God. The orange uniforms,
the cream
football pants on head to toe and the creamsicles. It was that was awesome. And then you had the Bruins coming dressed in like pirates. I mean, or whatever they were from, New England, like Patriots or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was so awesome. And then the performances were good. Everything was great. Really good hockey game. And the action on the ice was just incredible. We had everything.
John Cooper's suit.
Yes.
Before we get into the game,
Tony Montana.
That's, oh my God. That was,
what?
Perfect.
It was. And I was telling my wife and my daughter, who were home at the time, watched that game from start to finish because it was the only game on Sunday night, but it was just that good of a game. And like John Cooper, it's 40 degrees or less than that at game time down on the rink. And he's just wearing that suit. Everybody else is bundled up and cold. And he's just Pimp Daddy Tony Montana out there, the chest hair going. And at the end of the game, smoking a cigar. I mean, give the guy the Jack Adams right now. I said he deserves it. And just right there alone, he proves it.
It was phenomenal look. Just a phenomenal. And I loved the hat. I'm a sucker for hats anyway, as you might be able to tell. I appreciate a good hat. And I loved that he included the hat in the getup. It was
perfect.
It was so spot on, so perfect, so South Beach. Everything about it was fantastic. But then the game itself was so good. I mean, you've got Brandon Hagel scoring 11 seconds into the game. They barely got done even just introducing everybody to the concept of, here we are outdoors in Tampa Bay, and it's cold enough to justify being outdoors in Tampa Bay, and Brandon Hagel's burying it in the back of the net.
I know. You know what? In some of these outdoor games, there's a lot of lack of scoring. You could have been at the concession stands and missed what it could have been the only goal of the game 11 seconds in, but thankfully it wasn't the only goal of the game. That was just the start.
The Bruins then just went on a tear throughout the rest of that first period. You had Steves, Geeky, and Arvidsson all converting before the first period was up 3-1 at the end of one, all the way up to 5-1 at one point. Boston got it up to, and then you have the fight. Then you have the chippiness, and you get the goalie fight. Swayman and Vasilevsky going at it. And Vasilevsky, my favorite part of the craziness which for a goalie fight, that was a pretty
good fight.
goalie fight. That
It
was a good goalie fight there between the two of them. My favorite of the whole bit, though, was when Swayman is, hey, you got to take your mask off. Come on, you got to take your mask off. And Vasilevsky does, but before they fight,
it's like a Fabio commercial back there, putting his hands through the locks. Man, it was almost like it was like in slow motion too, like he's just going back. I thought the same thing. That was so crazy.
It was, hey, this is for the one time I get to be on the ice on cameras without this mask on. I got to look good for the cameras.
Yeah.
It was 100% what it was, and I was there for it. It was outstanding. They do the fight. Both benches instantly are just, everybody's locked on it as the two of them are going at it.
Yeah.
And then the Lightning said afterwards that jump started them.
Oh, it sure did.
That's what got the rally going then.
Yeah. Right after that, Boston just started taking penalties one after the other. In fact, there was one moment that Jeremy Swayman, who is okay. So the good thing about this goalie fight is that there was not another fight going on simultaneously on the ice. If there had been, the two goalies would have been ejected out of the game. But because this was the only fight on the ice at the time, they were both assessed 5-minute majors. So they were still able to play the game. Obviously, the penalties are served by somebody else. While somebody is serving the penalty for Swayman in the box, Swayman does a puck out of play delay of game. So now he's got two penalties. He's got two different people serving the penalties, and he's still out on the ice playing. And it ended up costing the Bruins as Tampa Bay kept scoring on the two-man advantage. They got right back into this game, and then the epic finish,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the penalties were just, Boston lost their minds is really what it feels like. They completely lost their composure. Swayman, the back-to-back penalties. I did see it was somebody for the Bruins commented to one of the refs. I saw this earlier today. He said, hey, that's discrimination. What do you mean? Well, if I commit a penalty, then I got to go sit in that cold box. Why isn't he going in the box?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later. Just let's figure this out later. But yeah, you have Swayman just kind of losing his mind a little bit there, and it does come back to absolutely bite Boston as 3 power play goals for the Lightning then to close out the second period to 1,000% get themselves back in the game. It went from being 5-1 in the second period to 5-4 at the end of the second. Then we go to the third. Kucherov halfway through the period then is able to tie the game up. They get the point out of it. They go into overtime, and ultimately it's Gunsel is the only one who converts in the shootout, and Tampa wins 6-5. It is the largest comeback in Tampa Bay Lightning history. It is the largest comeback in an outdoor game in NHL history. What a game. I understand 1,000% why John Cooper needed that cigar after that game. That was a doozy.
Yeah, I think it was actually the highest rated game of the season so far as well. And I mean, what do you say about Kucherov? He had a goal and 3 assists in this game. He put the team on his back. He is such a great player. I've said it before. If it wasn't for a couple other McDavid and McKinnon, he's the MVP of the league. And John Cooper, phenomenal job. Something clicked. That fight was incredible. And those two teams are the top 2 fighting teams in the league as far as major penalties go. I think Tampa Bay has like 26 or 27, and Boston just behind them. So, and then the 2 goalies were the ones that went at it. I thought that was great. But yeah, this game had everything. I mean, how do you top that? I don't know. We have an outdoor game in Winnipeg next season. We also have the outdoor game in Utah. But this was so cool. The pirate theme, the treasure map on the field as well in Raymond James Stadium, where the pirate ship is at for the Buccaneers. The theme was really cool. I mean, it was a little bit of theater, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, it was absolutely theater. But for something like this, I don't mind when you're throwing some theater into an event like this. It's abnormal. You're outdoors. You don't normally play outdoors. You don't need to pretend like, oh, this is just another game. It just happens to be outside. No, have some fun with it. This is the time to break out the alternate jerseys like they did. Yeah. This is the time to fill in all that extra. You have to fill in all that extra space with something. You may as well have some fun with it and have it be unique and fun and different like that. So I have no problem with the themes at all with that. I think it's fun.
It blew the Winter Classic out of the water. That's for darn sure.
Oh, 1,000%, 1,000%. Which that was it. That was in Miami.
Yeah.
So you can do it in Florida. It just has to be the right circumstances. And I did one other funny on this before we close the door on it. It was interesting to me that Florida, their concern was, are they going to be able to keep the ice cold enough so that they can play on it? The ice actually got so cold, they had to heat it so that the players could still skate on it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I said it was going to be cold down there. It was fantastic game. I loved it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It's gonna be a tough one for any of the outdoor ones to top.
We can go back to that and say, you know what? Boston is under duress right now. They lost tonight in overtime. They lost that game in overtime to Tampa. That's two valuable points. And right now in that Eastern Conference, there's some teams that are heating up, which are right on the Bruins' tail. Yes. I'd be on the lookout right now.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It does feel like Boston is on red alert and could very possibly get upset and knocked completely out of.
Let's see what they're made of for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, real quickly, before we talk some Olympics, let's dive in and let's do. This will be the last time we'll get to do this for a couple of weeks. Let's dive in and go through your power rankings. Now I'm seeing the time and I'm knowing that we've got to do our Olympic coverage yet. So we'll go through these quickly. We'll do the lightning edition of Freddie's power rankings. These are the top 10. And as we'll do this, these aren't necessarily where we think these teams are going to stop at the end of the season. This is not if the playoffs started today, these guys would be in. This is purely simply today. These are who we think the top 10 team, who Freddie feels the top 10 teams.
Yeah, you're right. This is based on how these teams are playing at the current moment in time. Not necessarily where they're at in the standings, but not coming in at number 10, Adam, I've got to go with the Columbus Blue Jackets. 9-1 under Rick Bowness, and they're going to win again tonight. That's going to be 10-1. They're going to be only 2 points behind the Bruins now for the final wild card spot at 67. They'll have 67. Boston will have 69. Outrageous.
7 straight wins for the Blue Jackets. That is outstanding job.
7 straight, 10-1 with Mr. Rick Bowness. I mean, I'm so happy. Everybody loves him. And Columbus is a really good team. I've said about that all year. Really great players. I like what they're doing. They are rolling, and I think this trend can continue for them.
Well, we'll see how it comes. Then coming in at number 9, Buffalo coming in.
Yeah, they dipped a little bit, had a couple of overtime losses. They lost to Tampa Bay last night, that was a tough loss for them, but still in a playoff spot, just dipped a little bit in the rankings this week.
But still, staying in the top 10, not leaving anywhere, but a little bit of a dip.
70 points. They're tied with Montreal if they were in the last wild card spot, but right now they're third in the Atlantic.
And then coming in at number 8, the team that we were just talking about and just warning everybody that could very possibly be on upset alert, the Boston Bruins, back-to-back brutal losses.
Yeah, 7-1-2 over their last 10. They had been playing great, and then the loss tonight to Florida, they were up 2-1 after the first period and then give up 3 in the second. They were lucky enough to manage and get that bonus point. But yeah, Boston, they dropped a little bit down to number 8 in the rankings.
Not what you want to be doing. They definitely are going to try to to take advantage of the Olympic break and reset and regroup and exhale a little bit. Then coming in at number 7, the Anaheim Ducks. They weren't in here last week. They're back up here again now. What's got you going on with Anaheim?
They had that 7-game winning streak followed by a 9-game losing streak followed by another streak. The Ducks are 8-2 over their last 10, and they had a huge win last night against the Seattle Kraken, who were in town. The Ducks, with that win, jump into third in the Pacific, and only how many points are they behind Vegas? 1 point behind Vegas. Vegas does have a game in hand. So the Ducks are 1 point out of first right now. They were, 9-game losing streak, look dead in the water. Things start clicking again. Lukas Dostal is back. He's healthy. They're winning games. They're getting great goaltending. And then you've got Jackson Lacombe and Beckett Seneca on the back end, who are superstars.
Yeah, we'll again. We're not saying this is where Anaheim is going to finish, but for right now, they're in the top 10.
They're playing really good hockey, Adam.
Number 6, a team that feels like it's floundering a little bit, having some trouble in Utah tonight. The Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, they're 4 points now behind Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay still has 3 games in hand. I don't think they're going to have the speed to catch Tampa with the way Tampa's playing 8-1-1 over the last 10. The Red Wings 5-3-2 over their last 10. They've got to get things going. Buffalo was on their heels, and then Buffalo's kind of stubbed their toe over the last few nights. So Red Wings are still hanging in there. I just want to see them kick things into another gear.
Yeah, I would agree. They don't falter now. If you're the Red Wings, you got to keep moving. You got to keep progressing. You've still got 2 months of an NHL season left to go. Number 5, the Dallas Stars. Is this the bottom now? Are they going to start turning around?
Yeah, I think they're turning it around, and right now they're just flip-flopping with Minnesota, as they have been all season. Minnesota's 7-1-2, just ahead of them. Dallas 6-4 over their last 10, but 5 straight wins. So they were 1-5 over their last 5, and then go for 5 straight. I think Dallas is starting to turn it around. The Olympic break, we're going to see is it helpful or is it harmful for these teams when they return? But Dallas still playing really well.
Yeah. And then very little change at the top of your rankings.
Not really.
Minnesota coming in at number 4.
Yeah, Minnesota, like I said, they're hanging in there. They're getting great depth of scoring. They're fighting with Dallas right now to see who gets home ice in the first round of the playoff. And
did I see that Quinn Hughes? I should have written it down when I saw the statistic. Quinn Hughes is he already tied for the franchise lead for 3 assist games for a defensiveman?
I haven't seen that stat, but that wouldn't surprise me that he's done it that quickly. I can't think of any, wild defensemen who were that offensively skilled over the last, 20, 30 years.
It's just mind-boggling. He's been there only just a few months, and the impact he is having on the blue line, both offensively and
they're a scary team. When they are clicking, they're really good, but they're kind of 50-50 right now. They got to stay ahead of Dallas.
Yep. Then number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. They're still sitting atop the Metro.
And Brandon Bussey continues to win games. The guy's having an incredible season. He's really holding the fort down in net for Carolina. They shut you out defensively, and they, just smother you. And then they are so talented and can put the puck in the net from everywhere. Really good. Of course, they can't go any higher because at number 2 is Tampa Bay. Right. And I was really close, Adam. I was really close to almost putting Tampa Bay at number 1. Just because what I've seen Tampa Bay do. However, they did just suffer another significant injury to their scoring, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Tampa Bay is fantastic, man. I love that team. They're gritty. They muck it up. They lead the league in fights. They also lead the Eastern Conference in goals and goal differential. Andre Vasilevsky is on his game again. Really good team in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best coach in the league, too, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then number 1, they've been there literally the entire season. The number 1 team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, Avs are still rolling. They had a little bit of that hiccup. Only a 5-point lead right now on Minnesota, but they do have 3 games in hand. So they do have that. Only 3-5-2 over their last 10. Maybe, we said this break is going to be huge. We'll see if maybe they were over the mark the first half of the season, and now they're playing, where they should be. I don't know. Colorado still has a lot to prove. I mean, They can score. They've got the defense. I don't know. We'll see. I would give it a couple more weeks, and they may be bumped out of the number 1 power rankings.
Yeah, I would say if they come back from the Olympic break and go 3-5-2 in a 10-game stretch, that's bump.
They go 3-5-2. They may not even be in first place in the division.
Yeah, their own division, let alone power rankings. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's some teams that could have been in there. Pittsburgh, the Islanders. Really, no other teams in the Pacific are playing great hockey right now. Vegas is like 1-7 since the Rasmus Anderson trade. The Oilers can't stop a beach ball from going into the net. And we've got the Kings and Kraken fighting for another spot tonight. And whoever wins that game is only going to be a few points out. It's really 5, strong horses to the finish in the Pacific Conference right now.
Absolutely. So there you have it. The top 10 for Freddie B's power rankings this week. Columbus, Buffalo, Boston, Anaheim, Detroit, Dallas, Minnesota, Carolina, Tampa, and Colorado. If you got any problems with those, hit us up on social media. Yeah. Let us know what your beef is. We'll figure it out. We'll solve it. We'll figure out where you're wrong and he's right. We're not. We're happy to do that.
That's never happened, right?
No, never. So, all right. With that, we are going to take for ourselves a quick little break, and then when we come back, it's time to talk the 2 Olympic hockey teams. The nations of Canada and the U.S. They are the heavyweights in both the women's and the men's tournaments. We'll get you set up for it as we are less than 12 hours from Olympic hockey. This is the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Freddie back here with you. Woo, we're going to be doing some extended show tonight as we did nearly a full hour on NHL tonight. There is so much more to go through tonight, though, as we are just hours away from the start of Olympic hockey. The women's tournament gets started tomorrow morning, our time. It'll be in the early afternoon there in Italy when the puck drops. The first game tomorrow. I'm pulling up the full-on schedule for the Olympics. It's the full-on schedule for tomorrow starts with in women's hockey. We get started at 6:10 a.m.
bright and early
time. Bright and early. That's 3:00 in the morning for you, Freddie. You gonna stay up to watch Sweden versus Germany tomorrow morning?
Maybe.
That's an early start. That's about when my alarm's going off. So
no, that's a little early. I think I'm going to save it for the men's, but you know what? My dogs wake me up about that time every morning to go to the bathroom, so I might turn it on just to go back to sleep.
Yeah,
at least I can watch a little bit of it.
Yep. Watch a little bit of it. So you've got Sweden versus Germany starting things off tomorrow morning. Then you've got Italy versus France. Following that'll be at 8:40 Eastern time, 5:40 in the morning there in the West. And then Team USA starts its Olympic tournament tomorrow morning, 10:40 Eastern time, 7:40 Pacific. Out there by you, taking on Czechia. So that'll be the start of the women's tournament. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on in there as well. So we'll keep you going. There's also then Canada gets its start late tomorrow in Italy. It'll be at 3:10 in the afternoon in the East, basically a noon puck drop for you out there. Noon? Yes, yep, noon puck drop for you tomorrow afternoon, Finland versus Canada, but that is late in Italy. That is going to be late Thursday night local time that game will be going on. Team Canada taking on Finland.
Now, how do you think the ice conditions are going to be after that many games?
For this rink, for this arena, I have no idea. They've had so many problems with this arena. That is a valid question. That is a valid concern. They've had so many other things go wrong where it's too,
you're fine.
It's too small. The Jumbotron's wrong. The ice broke when they had their first trial event. It took them forever to get their first trial event out there anyway. That was supposed to be happening almost a year ago. It was more like a month ago that it happened. They've had so many problems. That is a genuine concern, is what will the ice be like when Finland and Canada drop the puck tomorrow night local time? Because that will be, we're talking, that's what, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
that'll be the fifth game, the fourth or fifth game of the day. That is a concern. That will be something to keep an eye on. Is the condition of the ice as they drop the puck there later on. So we'll certainly keep our eye on it. We'll see how it is. We'll see how it goes. But we highlight specifically the games for Team Canada and Team USA because those are the countries that we purposely did not discuss last week when we were getting ready for the Olympic, when we started our Olympic preview, because hey, we knew that these were going to be the nations that everybody was going to be so keyed in on, so glued to. Let's start with the women. Do we want to start with the US or do we want to start with Canada?
Your choice. I have the US roster pulled up right here in front of me. We can go over the women's for sure.
All right, so we'll start with the women, and let's go ahead and start with Canada. They are the defending Olympic champions, winning in 2022. Sarah Nurse, a big contributing factor to that back in 2022, defeating the US along the way. 16 players from that championship roster in 2022 are on the roster here in Italy. They're the prohibitive favorites in my mind. These are the women that I would expect to be taking the gold. You've got so many top-notch players, a lot of them coming now from the PWHL. I'm looking at it.
I'm looking at it right here, Adam. They have 23 players in total that are playing PWHL hockey right now.
That's excellent. Such a that's huge for the PWHL, that it's that's just a good feather in your cap that yes, these are the best of the best that we're
all but two. Yeah, all but two women right now. Caitlin Kramer and who's the other one there? Chloe Permerano. Those are the two that are still playing college hockey right now. So the other ones are all rostered on PWHL rosters.
Yep. So you love that for the PWHL. And Renee Despiens is going to be in net for Team Canada. You're talking fantastic net minding there. She's been having a terrific season with Montreal. In the meantime, Sarah Nurse, she had 18 points in this tournament 4 years ago. She's fresh off of an injury. She has played a few games for Vancouver, so she's ready to go for this tournament. I like Canada.
I know you do, and I know you love saying this name, Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Yes,
You're always talking about her. What a fantastic player she is. Yeah, I agree with you that I think Canada is the favorite between them and the U.S. to come away with gold.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be. I shouldn't say stunned, because the U.S. should certainly give the Canadians a challenge, but it certainly does feel like the Canadians are going to be the favorite in this tournament. But we do have Team USA, which they've frequently been in the gold medal game in this tournament. They came up with the silver medal back in Beijing. Team USA is the defending world's championship from last season. So they've certainly got plenty of experience from that team.
Absolutely.
You've got championship caliber, Kendall Cone Schofield. You've got
Hillary Knight.
Hillary Knight. She just got named captain for Team USA, and coming over from Seattle.
And my favorite, Aaron Frankel, goaltender of the Boston Fleet.
You haven't been able to score on her in the PWHL this season.
I know.
So certainly USA is not going to be any kind of a slouch. But Aaron Frankel and Curl Salamine and some of the others, they have 12 quote, I'm going to use air quotes here, rookies in this tournament. For 12 of Team USA's players here on the women's side, these will be their first Olympic Games.
Yeah, experience might be the determining factor between them and the Canadian roster.
Yeah, I mean, they've played in Worlds. They've played against a lot of these players, either in the PWHL or in other circumstances, situations in their time playing hockey. But it's always a little different when it's the Olympics, because the lights are always brighter and there are always just more eyeballs on it when it's the Olympics. Scoring shouldn't be a problem for Team USA in this tournament. They should be putting pucks in the back of the net, no problem. And if Aaron Frankel is on her game like she has been much of this season in Boston, there's no reason to think that Team USA can't win the gold medal. You never want to say never, but if Team USA does not come away with a medal in this tournament, that's a disaster of an Olympics.
Yeah, Adam, I don't think you have anything to worry about with that. I haven't looked at the groups. Who's got the more favorable group?
Well, they're both in Group A.
Oh, they're both in Group A.
So they are going to see each other.
That's right.
Group play. They're both going to come out of group play. You're talking the rest of the group is Czechia, Finland, Switzerland, and Switzerland is in Group A. So they're both going to easily make it out of group play. And then it's just going to be, once you start getting into the true tournament, once you get into the elimination portion of the tournament, that's where, how is it going to line up? How are the draws going to work for you there? Hopefully they'll both have put up enough goals and gotten that differential up enough that they'll be separated and they wouldn't meet until the gold medal game, but you never know. They could, but one of them's going to end up like a 2 seed, because they can't. One of them is going to win their group, so they will end up having to play the number 1 seed, most likely on the other side, to get to Canada first. Right, exactly. Yeah,
or the U.S., vice versa.
Right. They can't both win their group, unfortunately.
Right.
That is a downside of the draw. Probably the only downside for the draw for both of them is one of them can't win the group. So there is absolutely that.
Yeah, they do play the final game of the round robin rounds against each other. That's going to be must-see TV. That's going to be, group winner on the line.
Oh, absolutely. That will be a massive game. What's the date on that game? Do you happen to have it in front of you?
I think it was the 12th, but I could be wrong.
That sounds right. That's what was floating around in my head from when, because we brought it up a little bit last week that it was going to be right around the 12th. Let me see if I can pull that up again while you're doing it as well. That's also when the men's tournament will be in full swing by that point as well. The men's prelims will be going on at that point.
They start February 11th.
So we'll be getting there. So yeah, but having US versus Canada to close out the round robin, the group play, if you will, for the Olympic tournament, that'll be a ton of fun.
Yeah,
to keep an eye on.
February 10th.
There we go. February 10, US versus Canada to close out the group play. That'll be
good stuff.
That'll be very, very exciting. Excellent stuff. Be great stuff. You definitely will definitely want to watch it. That'll be 2:00 in the afternoon Eastern time, 11:00 in the morning out west. That'll be definitely, you'll be able to watch and enjoy that one.
Well,
all right.
Without further ado, Adam.
Yes. Let's get into the men's Team Canada, Team USA Olympic preview. So let's go over. Oh, I had the Team Canada up there with the Team USA numbers, the whole banner.
There we go.
Time. Well, let's go over. Let's go back to Canada. Let's start there, shall we? For the men's side now, Team Canada.
Yeah, Adam, this team is stacked. It is stacked, and there are so many guys similar to that of the U.S. that I think were left out and that should have belonged on this team. And we've seen just here recently a couple due to injury that have made this team. So, yeah, what do you say, man? A fantastic roster.
Who do you take off of Team Canada? I mean, we can come up with all kinds of names of guys where it's, how could you leave him off? How could you leave him off? Of course, how do you leave Connor Bedard off? Well, I look at this forward listing. Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. I think, they did suffer a blow with Anthony Cirelli getting injured the other day for Tampa Bay. He was just replaced with Sam Bennett, and Braden Point of Tampa Bay had that injury a few weeks back, and they still haven't said whether or not he's good to go, right? I don't think they've made a replacement yet for Brandon Hagel, so I don't know who that would be. I mean, there were a lot of guys who were left out. Bedard, obviously. Celebrini did get in, and he played his way in. Fantastic start to the season, and he definitely belongs there. People could say Drew Doughty maybe doesn't belong there. He is a veteran. He's won gold medals in the past. Not his best season at all this year for the Kings.
Yeah.
We're very critical of him, obviously. But when it comes to the international play, you want Drew Doughty, who will bleed for his country, on your team. So the passion that he plays with, especially representing his colors, is huge. And in goal, they're solid as well. Jordan Binnington, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the starter right now for the Canadian goalies. We have Jordan Binnington, Darcy Kemper, and Logan Thompson. All three of them have had their moments.
Yes. I feel like it would be Binnington. But you're right. You could go with Kemper. You can go with Thompson. You can make arguments for any of the three. Now with the men, I should clarify here. we do have another week essentially before the men's tournament will begin. The men's tournament begins a week from today.
Yeah, the 11th.
So they do have some time to kind of go through this and figure out what it is that they're going to be doing. Team Canada plays its first game on February 11th, playing against Czechia. USA will play its first game also February 11th, as soon as the Canadian game is done against Latvia. Canada is, I'm pulling up. I want to make sure. Excuse me. Both of those games, I'm sorry. Those games are on the 12th of February. So next week, Thursday is when those games are. Excuse me. I thought I had it correct there. I was misreading my schedule there. And I do want to make sure that I've got the groups correct in here as well. I want to make sure that I've got the groups correct. Canada is in Group A, along with Switzerland, Czechia, and France. The US will get into in a little bit, but they are in separate groups. They are not in the same group. So Team Canada, is there any doubt in your mind that Team Canada comes out of group play anywhere other than on top?
No, Adam. And if they don't win like every game by 4 goals, I'd have concern. Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and then you've got Makar, Hartley, Parayko. So many great players. A lot of guys who are adding some grit and toughness to this team, like Tom Wilson and Sam Reinhart and Brad Marchand. So you're getting those Florida Panther guys together now, especially with Sam Bennett being named. Bo Horvat's a big guy. I think he's going to have a really good Olympic. He's really tearing it up right now for the Islanders. Nick Suzuki, deserving of playing as well. He's having a fantastic year with Montreal. Top to bottom, I think they are very deep. And the thing that it's always come down to between the U.S. and the gold medal recently is goals. Always a goal short. And Canada could definitely put the puck in the net with that roster they've got.
I know that the roster is not in line order or pairings order for the defensive men, but still seeing Devin Taves' name at the bottom of the defensive pairing.
Oh yeah.
You talk about an embarrassment of riches in Team Canada. And looking through the list, it's again, that could very well be the list of pairings. And it's, if Taves is a healthy scratch every night, again, who are you
I don't know,
benching to make way for him?
That's a good problem to have, though, that you do have that depth.
Absolutely. Oh, they have all the depth there with Team Canada.
Yeah.
So coming out of group play, they should have absolutely zero problems for Team Canada, and then they'll get into the actual tournament portion. Yep. All right. Now let's talk Team USA, shall we?
Yeah.
Not a bad roster by any means for Team USA. Certainly star-studded, certainly deep, certainly able to make some noise in this tournament.
Absolutely, Adam. But the first thing is, I think they made a few mistakes with some of the selections that they had made. How do you leave out Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield, who are the 2 highest scoring U.S. born players in the league right now? Both have over 30 goals, and neither of them make this team. And the Team USA is always, like I said, short a goal. They're always down a goal. In 2012, what was it? 2010, when they lost that overtime game to Canada, and then in every tournament they're always a goal short. They needed to have offense. Jason Robertson definitely belongs on there. Cole Caulfield belongs on there. I do like the roster that they have, though. There are some really good players. Jack Eichel, Jake Getzel, Clayton Keller. I love Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews. They've got really good players. And then you have the Kachuk brothers, Vinny Trocheck, Tage Thompson. I think the USA roster top to bottom is on the forward side is outstanding, but I still think those guys should have been there.
Who would you remove to make room for Jason Robertson?
Well, I would have taken off JT Miller.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, JT Miller for sure was the one that I would have taken off and had Jason Robertson in his place. Defensively, very young, with Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes. Jackson Lacombe was just announced to the team because of Seth Jones's injury with the Florida Panthers. And that is not just an average guy you're subbing in. Jackson Lacombe is having a fantastic season, and he is going to be perfect on the defensive side for Team USA. Just watch out for him. He is outstanding. The Ducks have a gem with him. And then you have Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, and Zach Werenski. Defensively, they're awesome. Very youthful, puck-moving guys. And remember, we have a shorter ice rink by that 4 feet as well. So, maybe you have a chance to activate your D a little bit more because you don't have to worry about them coming back and sitting back playing D. So offensively, they have a better offensive set of defensemen than Team Canada does.
Quinn Hughes is going to love that. I mean, Quinn Hughes is already one of your most offensively active defensiven in all of men's hockey.
Yeah.
You give him 3 feet shorter ice. Oh, he's going to be on the score sheet darn near every period.
Yeah. And Zach Werenski is up there as well as far as guys who can, get a lot of points. He can score, he can assist. Great to have on the power play. I like that. And then I do think they have some good guys in net as well. Connor Hellebuck. He's been there before, and now he really needs to step it up and win those big games. Jake Ottinger and also Jeremy Swayman. I think Swayman's the odd man out on those three, especially the way Swayman's been playing over the last couple of games. He got lit up in that game, with Tampa Bay down in the Stadium Series. But
yeah, it's always the conversation when we come to USA and we talk about the goalies. What Hellebuck are you getting? Are you getting NHL regular season Connor Hellebuck, or are you getting playoff Connor Hellebuck? Because there's such a huge difference between those two players.
That's a totally fair question. Needs to step it up, and I think these guys have a legitimate chance of putting something special together. It's 26 years ago the Miracle Team happened, 1980, and I think that with the NHL, being back for the first time in quite some time, that the USA is in probably the best position they've ever been in to come away with a gold medal.
They're in Group C along with Germany, Latvia, and Denmark. So I would 1,000% expect them to come out at the top of their group, along with Team Canada being at the top of Group A. Just out of morbid curiosity, what's your take for Group B? You've got Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Italy. Who would you take coming out of Group B?
I would probably go with Sweden and Finland as the top two.
That's exactly where my mind was. Sweden to win and Finland to be in second. There.
Yeah. On last week's show, I think it was Sweden was plus 600 in the odds or whatever it was. If there's anybody that's going to win the gold medal that's not Team USA or Team Canada, then I think Sweden would be that team.
Yeah, I agree there. So it's going to line up. It could very easily line up very, very nicely to see Team Canada and Team USA play in the gold medal game yet again. We got to see in the Four Nations face-off a year ago. My gosh. That was some incredible hockey that we got to see. A lot of these same guys.
Another goal short. They've got Team USA has to be better. And I think that this year could be the year that they do it, Adam. I'm so for it, man. I'm pumped up. I'm going to try to watch as many games as I can. They're going to be on in the mornings out here on the West Coast. But even if they were on in the middle of the night, I'm staying up to watch the hockey games.
Yep. Yep. Well, USA starts its men's Olympic tournament a week from tomorrow. It will be USA versus Latvia. The game will be at 3:10 Eastern time, 12:10 Pacific time. So right at lunch break, you can go Freddie, you'll be in a position to take your lunch break and then go watch some hockey. I will have to manipulate my schedule in order to watch some hockey that day for that particular game. But they then USA will then, for its group, they play February 12th. They also play then on Valentine's Day. Ooh. They will play against Denmark. Again, that'll be 3:10 in the afternoon for the East, 12:10 in the afternoon out there in the Pacific. They then play on Sunday as well. They play against Germany, same time there, and that will close out the group play, and then they'll get into the good stuff and get into the tournament itself proper.
I like all their games are at the same time, so they're in watchable hours in the United States, which is nice. So make an effort to try to watch those games. I'm going to obviously
make it very easy. Yeah, they'll of course be streaming on Peacock. I believe it's going to be USA for those that have the still going with the cable, with the cable option. It'll be USA Network, I believe, is going to be broadcasting just about all the hockey games.
That's awesome.
Are going to be on USA Network. Well, if not, USA is handling the bulk of the hockey games. I'll put it that way. Or if you have the Peacock app, of course, then you just find it right there.
Pick and choose what you want to watch. Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be pretty straightforward.
I got my Freebird shirt on right now, Adam. I got this from the guy.
There we go.
Over at Spit and Chicklets. It's a really cool t-shirt.
There we go.
So I'm already pumped up, man. I can't wait for this. But we have a few more nights of hockey to go. And when we came from our break, the Kings had just scored to make it 1-0. And then as we've talked about the Olympics here, they're now down 3-1 after one period.
Ooh.
Darcy, yeah. How quickly can they get Panarin back here?
Yeah, well, they're fitting him for a jersey right now.
Yeah, I know. I need to see the stats because that's not good. And Darcy Kemper in net too. We talked about him. Possibility on Team Canada. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for our show this evening. Wow. What a show. We went
Great show tonight.
Of stuff tonight. Thank you to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. I would suggest and recommend the volcanic jalapeno. Very tasty. Good stuff there. Also want to say thank you again to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR at checkout, and you'll get 15% off of your order. You know that is always good for you. Thank you for following along with this show. We are available for you on Twitter at IESR Neutral Zone. Also, be sure to follow along with the station at IE Sports Radio. You can also follow along with Freddie. He is at FreddieB_sports. I am at Adam_Karnik. And be sure to check out the website, IESportsRadio.com. All the latest information with the station, the show, everything going on there. You can catch them on past episodes of not just the Neutral Zone, but all the other shows on the station as well, and see what all of our insiders are up to and doing. Like, for example, Brian Francione, our Boston insider, he was at that Boston-Tampa Bay game in Raymond James. All kinds of stories he's got there. So be sure to go to IESportsRadio.com to check that out. Thank you to Larry B., our star and overlord of all things IE Sports Radio, for doing all the hard work behind the scenes, keeping us going, keeping us active. Thank you to everyone that watched the show live tonight across YouTube and Twitter. We really do appreciate it. And to everybody that'll be watching the show as a replay on YouTube or over at the website, thank you for making us part of your sports week. We really do appreciate it. Next week, we will be full Olympics. We will be diving in. We'll be letting you know everything that's happened, what we think of everything that'll be coming next. Until then, we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody.
Good night, Adam. Thank you.